Hey, very good evening in India. Good morning, America. This is Sean Shankaran from Indian Overseas Congress, and I have Sam Pitroda with me. Today, we have a very important topic to discuss the idea of future democracy in the ambits of Congress 2024 Manifesto Nyaya Patra. I'll let Sam give a quick, good introduction about the 48-page blueprint of the future of India, which I think a lot of minds have put together from the Congress world. But I think it was done by one man who have walked across the country from south to north, east to west, walking thousands of kilometers, listening to so many voices. He listened to the entire Bharat Ki Awas, and his thoughts are the one we our team have put together. And I let Sam give an introduction. I think there are a great amount of team. I think Sam will talk about the work went behind it. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Sean. Greetings, everyone from Chicago. As part of our conversation on the book on the idea of democracy, Sean and some of the young people felt it'll be good to talk today about Congress Party Manifesto. This manifesto is a result of lot of discussion at various levels, lot of input, like Sean said, collected during Rahul Gandhi's yatras, listening to people, discussing with them, and looking at the overall mood of the nation. The Manifesto Committee, under the leadership of Mr. P.C. Chidambaram, worked very hard. I had a couple of conversations with him, and I must compliment not only Mr. Chidambaram and his team, but also Congress Party and the leadership for putting together a very interesting manifesto. I remember in Rajiv Gandhi's time when we were doing manifesto in 1989, Rajiv Gandhi had set up two parallel teams. One, a public team, which was headed by Narasimha Rao, Pranab Mukherjee, Arjun Singh, and others. And another one, a team in the background, which consisted of V. Krishnamurthy, General Krishna Rao, Ambassador Ras Gotra, and me. We used to meet regularly at my house and look at the key issues from one perspective, and the political team looked at key issues from different perspective. And then we merge these two together. Similarly, I'm sure Mr. Chidambaram had to speak to large number of people in his team to get consensus on many of these complex ideas. A document like this is not very easy to put together. I am very proud of this document. I'm very proud of it, mainly because I personally believe this essentially outlines the challenge India is facing. And different people read this document differently, and that's the reason for this broader conversation. And I'm sure we all find things are of our interest and things probably don't interest some people. I see in this document macro level issues and also micro level issues. I see in this document philosophy, strategy, values, and I see in this document also a path forward for the future of India. when I look at the outline, to me, first set of items are mainly for the interest groups like farmers, students, youth, women, uh, OBC, minorities, and all that. And the second set of items are really to put things in place to deliver on those. The emphasis on putting democracy back on track, focusing on our constitutional values is extremely important to me as an individual. Without that, you can't really deliver on many of these issues. Then similarly, we talk about economy, again at a macro level. And all of these things come together in a very nice way. The core of this is connected in two basic ideas: sustainability and inclusion. If we don't provide right platform, democracy, rule of law, security, safety, employment, uh, economic prosperity, we can't deliver. So sustainability is tied to all of these ideas, that to sustain our path, we need to stick to our values, we need to stick to our constitution, we need to really focus on democracy. And then inclusion. Large number of people have been left behind because of inequality, especially income inequality. We need to lift them. To lift them, there are certain sacrifices we need to make as a nation. And that's where the details fall in place. The reaction from opposition has been very sort of weird in some ways, from my perspective. Some people call this, and I'm just referring to reading media, articles, comments on social media and all, and I don't do much of that, but from whatever little I have scanned through, some people think it is too leftist. In fact, one friend of mine said, this manifesto looks like it is written in Russia. It shows their lack of understanding of the reality of poor people of India. But they are entitled to their view. And I think we need to talk to them and explain to them what it really means to large number of poor people who are at the bottom of the economic pyramid. Manifesto cannot be just about tax benefits. And I was surprised to learn that this manifesto is really created waves in many ways, because it addresses the issues of large number of people. So I saw on social media some old comment I had made 5 years ago as my comment to the present manifesto. That shows me how effective this manifesto is. That people want to lie to defend their viewpoint. But that's normal. I am personally very proud of this manifesto. I compliment Congress President Rahul Gandhi, PC Chidambaram, and the whole team of people who worked on it. Nothing is perfect in life. So you can always find some faults here and there, which is fine. But if you take 80-90% of this as the core, I think it is need of the hour. To me, need of the hour is to fix the democracy, focus on our constitution, revive economy, employment, focus on growth, and then make sure that the people who've been left behind are given priority, support, helping hand, and encouragement to build their future. With this, I want to hear your comments. It'll be good to take one by one issues and talk a little more in detail. But I leave it to all of you because you are the people who are going to be reading it in your own different way. And we want to learn from you. We want your input, your advice. And I'm sure Mr. Chidambaram and Rahul Gandhi and Kharge and others would be very interested in listening to your views, or at least filtering your views and getting a summary. Thank you, Sean.
Awesome, Sam. Looking forward to talk to P. Chidambaram also in one of this show. Let us see if we can get him on the loop. I think it is
I
a
will try to
phenomenal.
get him. If he's available, I'm sure he'll be open to conversation. But right now everybody's so busy with elections, so their time is more precious.
Sure,
And I'll leave that to PC, but I'll call him. He has been a good
sure,
friend, very supportive,
sure.
excellent person, and a good communicator.
Great, great, sir. So I think they have done a very, very great job. So I think Rahul on the roads of Nyaya Yatra already touched upon Hisadari, equity justice, Yuvanaya, youth justice, Narinaya, women justice, Kisanaya, farmer justice, and workers justice. Maybe he touched upon 25 important assurances out of this five, but I think that is some other very, very important topic, jewel of this manifesto, which is, I think I see a section called section 6 right after following this five sections, which is called defending the constitution. And in the sixth section, there are very important another six topics, out of which 57 assurances are there. Defending the constitution, reversing the damages, media, judiciary, anti-corruption, art, culture, and heritage. Phenomenal. 57 important assurances for the country, which may be the blueprint. So even though all the other five important nyaya is kind of being taken to the grassroots of the world, I think this is certainly to assure the people of the country that they don't need to fear and many other things. I just want, in fact, to read maybe to take an entire session today to dive deep, because this is a very important section I found where Congress is reassuring the country and people that we will get back our democracy, focusing on the multiple different pillars of democracy, which is also about your book, The Idea of Democracy. So, if you're okay, we can take one section after another in this sixth chapter, Sam.
Sure. I think, like you said, the sixth chapter and the chapter on economy is more about the platforms. Without democracy, without rule of law, without worrying about justice, a lot of these things are difficult to deliver. And that's the point. If you want economy to grow the way we expect, we need democracy. There's a great equation between authoritarian system and democratic system when it comes to capitalism. Of course, China has shown it differently, but Chinese system works because their labor laws and all are not as open, as flexible, designed to benefit workers, and we are part of an international community in many of these issues. So for us, it will be very difficult. And that's why democracy has to be the bedrock of our future.
Awesome, sir. So, in the saving democracy, you have also added a couple of words: removing fear, restoring freedom. And I want to, in fact, read the couple of sentences as the kind of the preface for that entire. Maybe we have got 18 promises under that, which is the largest one in this whole sixth chapter. India's democracy has been reduced to an empty shell. Every institution, including parliament, is perceived to have lost its independence and become subservient to the executive government. It is common knowledge that it is the will of one person that prevails in the country. People's trust in democratic institution will be restored. Do you have any comment about this introduction, sir?
No, I think I agree with that. And that's the whole idea of creating a bright platform for it. Okay. Without that kind of commitment to democracy, it will be difficult to move forward. We want independent institutions, whether it is judiciary, ED, income tax office, election commission, police, security, and ultimately we want to decentralize things. So there is a very nice conversation in the manifesto on central state interface. Okay. I think our approach is to have bottom-up development as opposed to top-down development. Our approach is to decentralize as much as possible. And in Rajiv Gandhi's time, he time and time again emphasized the role of Panchayat Raj. He introduced Panchayat Raj. Mani Shankar Iyer worked very hard with him. Unfortunately, it didn't get translated all the way after we lost in 1989. And ultimately, India can really thrive only if we decentralize power. We believe that there is a structure there. We just have to implement properly. Maybe now is the time because we have technology, connectivity, networking to accomplish this. Earlier, it was not possible to standardize, coordinate, communicate properly. But if we make an attempt now, I think we'll succeed.
I want to, in fact, read all this 18 in three batches. First, I want to read the six and ask some questions. So, we promise you freedom from fear, is the first one. We promise to restore freedom of speech and expression, including full freedom of the media. We promise to decriminalize the offense of defamation and provide by law a speedy remedy by way of civil damages. We promise to end the arbitrary and indiscriminate suspension of the internet. We will review the Telecommunications Acts 2023 and remove the provisions of the restrict freedom of speech and expression and that violate the right to privacy. We promise to review all laws that interfere with the right to privacy and make suitable amendments to various laws to uphold the right of privacy. So I think these are phenomenal, Sam. Many things may look obvious that like we promise you freedom of fear, we promise you the full freedom of media, etc. But still saying that obvious thing as a party's manifesto to the entire country, I think one of our alliance leader, N.K. Stalin, day before yesterday, has said in a public meeting in Tirunelveli, Tamil Nadu, when Rahul joined. So he mentioned that the entire hero of this election is the Congress manifesto. He being one of the senior foremost political leader, he is saying this manifesto is the hero of this election. I think because of this, some of these things, saying the obvious things, reiterating, and the way it is reassuring to the citizens in the last mile, it's phenomenal. I want to hear your thoughts about why you guys thought, are you guys crazy to think and put this some of these obvious things? We promise you freedom of from fear, freedom of speech, freedom of the media.
Because all of these things are under attack and people are not really conscious of the fact that these things are under attack. Some people are, but most people are not, because most of the people are concerned about their jobs, inflation, and day-to-day hassle in their life. We need to connect those concerns to larger issues in the country, which are guaranteed in our constitution. People don't realize that we could not create jobs because we have fear, and that's the reason we put all of these things. And I think 2024 is an important year for India's future. This election, like many of us have said, is going to decide the destiny of a nation. And as a result, all the key issues that face us are properly outlined in the document. Earlier manifesto didn't require focus on democracy because it was there and everybody understood it. When Vajpayee was prime minister, nobody questioned democracy. Nobody questioned the independence of institutions. It was assumed that everything is okay, plus or minus, a little bit here and there. Similarly, in Mrs. Gandhi's time, emergency was declared and people questioned that. So that's the kind of time we have today.
Yeah, if we go by MG Devasagayam, it is 100x of that emergency times. In fact, that emergency time, democracy still thrived, and there was free and fair election conducted after that emergency. But I think this particular election, nobody's believing that it's a free and fair election, right?
Yeah, I'm concerned. I told you many times, and I've gone public on it, that my concern on EVM are aligned with Mr. Devasaham and his committee report, which I've read and understood and believed in it and still believe in it. And unless and until we sort out the EVM issue, I won't have confidence or trust. I've lost my trust in Election Commission. Now it is up to the Supreme Court to decide what is good for the people of India.
I see a section on judiciary and how you protect the institutions also. We'll get to that. I think it's phenomenal.
See, one nice thing is in India, we have a lot of talented people. We have a lot of committed people. India is full of capable, committed, but we lack courage at times. And if you give them a little bit of support, people will do their best. People will come from all walks of life to help. But you got to give them a chance. You got to listen to them. You got to open up. And that's the problem when authoritarian regime sets in. They close doors for conversation. They don't welcome new ideas. I give this example to few friends. We had a National Innovation Council under Dr. Manmohan Singh. And I firmly believe that Innovation Council was very important because it was at state level and district level and in clusters and, all kinds of schools we were talking about, Tod Ford Jod centers and all kinds of things were going on. And as soon as 2014 elections announced the victory of BJP and Modi government, within 30 days, National Innovation Council was dismantled, which basically told me that, look, we don't want new ideas. We have our ideas. We know what needs to be done, which is fine from their perspective. But basically, you have shut doors for people to come forward with innovations. And a lot of these things look different from different angle.
Sounds good, sir. I want to read the second and third sections together.
Do we have questions or?
Yeah, there are questions, but I want to kind of at least get you the important perspectives from you. We have 322 viewers. I think.
That's good, but let them ask. You can
Sure,
go
sure,
your stuff, but be
sure,
good.
sure,
Correct.
sure.
I want to hear them.
Yeah. People have said your book is good. I think I'll keep
Hi,
populating
Sunil.
that.
How are you?
They have received your book,
Yes.
and
Let's go back to Sunil.
yeah. So I think he's saying good morning, and he received, and he's very much fan of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil.
Yeah, I'll go as we get to questions, Sam. I think everybody's wanting to hear your perspective. Indeed, I think everybody's waiting. So I'll read the second and third stages. So we promise to uphold the people's right to assemble peacefully and to form associations. We promise not to interfere with personal choices of food and dress, to love and marry, and to travel and reside in any part of India. All laws and rules that interfere unreasonably with personal freedoms will be repealed.
Yep.
We promise that the two houses of parliament each meet for 100 days in a year, and the great traditions of parliament that prevailed in the past will be revived and unscrupulously observed. We
Absolutely.
promise that one day in a week will be devoted to discuss the agenda suggested by the opposition benches in each block. And we promise that the presiding officers of the two houses will be required to sever the connections with any political party, remain neutral, and observe the age-old norm that the speaker doesn't speak. We reject the one nation, one election idea, and we promise that elections to the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies will be held as and when they are due in accordance with the constitution and the traditions of a parliamentary democracy. We promise to restore the voters' trust in the election process. We will amend the election laws to combine the efficiency of the electronic voting machine and the transparency of the ballot paper. Voting will be through the EVM, but the voter will be able to hold and deposit the machine generated voting slip into the voter verifiable paper audit trail unit. The electronic vote tally will be matched against the VVPAT slip tally.
This
We
is the
promise.
key.
Yeah.
This is the key even in 2024 election. If it is not done in 2024 election, I don't trust. Okay. So I think Supreme Court will have to really decide in the next few days, perhaps, whenever the next date is, this particular issue. I have said over and over again that I want that receipt in my hand. Don't show it to me and drop the way you want to drop, because when you drop, I don't know what you're dropping. You may be doing the right thing, but I don't know. If you want to make sure that what I have casted is what you are counting, give me the paper receipt. Let me put it in a box which is not connected electronically and count everything. Fine. So there'll be a little more hassle this time. Big deal, na?
No, this is phenomenal, Sam. I think whatever you said, you are trusting some bit of automation, but with this verification system, I think which is phenomenal to continue see what was invented, but with a manual verification aspect, which is phenomenal. If Supreme Court is able to guide Election Commission on this,
Questions, Sean. Okay, finish your reading and then we go to.
sure.
Okay.
No, we don't have a lot of questions, Sam. Okay.
Okay.
I'll just go for the next one. We promise to strengthen the autonomy of the Election Commission of India, the Central Information Commission, the Human Rights Commission, the Office of the Comptroller and Auditor General, the commissions of SC/ST, minorities and OBC and other constitutional bodies. I think few of these are, I think, assuring the independence of these institutions are looking again obvious, but I think you are saying this to reassure those institutions who may be in fear now that okay, they are going to get back their independence so that they can act neutral, they can act with fairness, and they can take their decisions with respect to all their societies they are serving.
Good.
Sure. We promise to amend the 10th of the schedule of the Constitution and make defection, leaving the original party on which the MP or MLA was elected, an automatic disqualification of the membership in the Assembly or Parliament. We
I think
promise to this.
I think
Yeah,
they're very. Yeah.
The Operation Lotus will stop right after this. And we promise to restore the Planning Commission and define its roles and responsibilities that will include formulating medium and long-term perspective plans to meet the needs of the Navsankalp economic policy described in Chapter 7.
Absolutely. Planning is always very important. Planning should not be seen as centralized activity only. Planning is planning. And
I
Planning
think
Commission bring
this country
all.
has gone through.
Yeah.
Our country has gone through with multiple planning commissions. Do you want to talk about any of your past experiences, sir?
Oh, I spent a lot of time in Planning Commission. I had office uh, in Planning Commission for many years, right next to Montek's office, when Montek was the deputy chairman of the Planning Commission. And we had some very important members, whether it was Kasturi Rangan or Saida Hamid at one time in the early days in Rajiv Gandhi's time, Abid Hussain and others. And we all interacted on a regular basis, had coffee together, and that gave us personal interaction platform. Okay. And Planning Commission is one place where chief ministers come regularly. I remember once when Modi, as the chief minister of Gujarat, was going to come to Planning Commission. Montek met me in the lobby and he said, "Sam, today Chief Minister Modi is coming. Will you join us?" I said, "Okay." So I went and joined in that meeting. That wouldn't have been possible. Okay. So I think Planning Commission has a major role to play. And it is not the kind of Planning Commission that Soviet Union had. It is the Planning Commission of today. It is the Planning Commission that looks at data, analyzes. And in this day of AI as a tool, Planning Commission will have much bigger role to play. Okay. So I think Planning Commission is important. You can't just dismantle it because you thought it is like Soviet Union Planning Commission. Planning Commission has evolved. Yeah.
Awesome, sir. So I think what is this Navsankalp economic policy? That is a precursor in this section talking about that economic policy, what you have briefed in the next chapter 7. So what is the top important point which you are looking up to the Navsankalp economic policy?
What is Nal Sangam?
Navsankalp economic policy, I think they are talking, I think they have given a name for this whole thing briefed out in the chapter 7, which is on the economy.
If simpler way to look at this is to say we want bottom-up development. We want decentralization in our economy. We want to focus on small and medium-scale industries, local production, local talent, local capabilities, and ability to solve local problem using local resources. I mean, to some extent, this is Gandhian approach to problem solving. Okay. I don't need global expertise everywhere. Okay. Local people know what the real issues are. Local farmer knows a lot more than we think. So we got to give them important and not impose solutions on them. So today's system is we have the solution for your problem and we're going to tell you how to solve your problem, as opposed to saying, what do you think we should do to solve your problem? How can we help you? Okay. So that is the fundamental difference. We are not going to set up huge plants, but we are going to set up networking of smaller plants to scale. Okay. We're going to provide local jobs. Why should everything come from China today? I mean, I say this many times that even Ganpati statue comes from China. Look at all the artisan we have in the country. I mean, Indian art and craft industry has huge potential globally. We haven't provided marketing support to them. We haven't given them new tools and technology. And that's the challenge in building new economy. That's what new economy is all about. It's not about export to various countries, and it's not about producing goods for Louis Vuitton and others. That's not what we're talking about.
Awesome, sir. I think the rest section of the defending the Constitution and removing fear has also some few important assurances. We promise to ensure that the police, investigation, and intelligence agencies will function strictly in accordance with the law. They will be brought under the oversight of Parliament or the state legislatures, as the case may be. We promise to put an end to the weaponization of laws, arbitrary searches, seizures and attachments, arbitrary and indiscriminate arrests, third degree methods, prolonged custody, custodial deaths, and bulldozer justice. This is phenomenal. So I think I, this goes by the meticulous standing of Congress with all those oppressed people for
Yeah.
past 10 years. So I think uh, uh, in fact, I don't know how many people felt. I also felt very much Gandhi when I read this the whole document,
Of
because
course.
this is not some other communist propaganda, right? So this is, as you correctly said, this is real
Yeah.
Gandhian values being reflected in each and every sentences.
Yeah, but
We,
that's what Congress Party is all about. That is the idea of India that Congress Party had during independence, after independence, and even now. This is what the fight is all about. Today's fight is all about the idea of India. Okay. And I think that idea of India is pretty well articulated for implementation in that document. And it needs today a lot of work to bring things back to normal.
I think saying something is very easy, but doing something is very tough. So
Yeah.
maybe here you have been always saying that, okay, you want to protect the democracy, but now you are doing it. Actually, this is the very first step towards the doing, putting
Yeah.
a blueprint, I think, which has already happened. So I see our next assurance. We promise to enact a law on bail that will incorporate the principle that bail is the rule, jail is the exception in all criminal laws. So I think even there are a couple of chief ministers who are put behind the bar. So I think, yeah. So you want to comment anything on that, Sam?
Well, we know what is going on, whether it is chief ministers behind the bar or 24 cases on Rahul or day-to-day harassment, um, media coverage on Hadal case. It just goes on and on. People know it. Okay. And those who suffer know it even more. Okay. The key is that this election is all about the idea of India that we are fighting for. I have said time and time again, it is not about BJP versus Congress or alliance. It is not about Modi versus who. It is about the future of India. What kind of a nation you want to build? And that's where the India Alliance people have come together, saying this is the kind of India we want to build. Okay, where there is no fear, where there is equality, where there is justice, liberty, institutions are independent. And that's what we are talking about in the manifesto.
We will introduce prison reform to transform jails into institutions of rehabilitation, reform, and correction. And I see another important section where you have laid out how you will reverse damage. Before that, I think I just want to talk about this particular section itself, defending the Constitution, which is 18 assurances, which is phenomenal. So, reversing damages, you have mentioned the last 10 years, tremendous damage was done by BJP, NDA by misusing the brute majority enjoyed by in Parliament to make laws that violated the letter and spirit of the Constitution of India, as well as the fundamental principles of lawmaking, namely necessity, consultation, reasonableness, and proportionality. We promise that all anti-people laws passed by BJP NDA without proper parliamentary scrutiny and debate, especially those relating to workers, farmers, criminal justice, environment and forest, and digital data protection will be thoroughly reviewed and changed. We will carry out complete investigations of the electoral bond scam, the reckless sale of public assets, the PM CAS scam, repeated intelligence failures at the highest levels, and corruption in major defense deals. You want to touch upon anything on this reversing the damage? Why do you say you want to reverse damage and put a section and talk about it actually?
This is an important issue. It is important because BJP came to power with 40% of the vote. 60% still remains with the opposition. 40% vote does not allow you to really go make changes that affect 100% blindly without proper conversation, debate, discussion, taking people into confidence. So all that you have done needs to be put back on track. I just have a comment from Avi Dandia, our friend, कि आप हिंदी में बोलिए.
Go ahead.
ओके, सो प्रयत्न करेंगे अभी. आपकी बात सच है कि हिंदी बोलना जरूरी है टू रीच आउट टू लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पीपल, लेकिन एक आदत हो गई है, बुरी आदत हो गई है शायद, कि हिंदी में बोलना भूल जाते हैं और अच्छा बोल भी नहीं सकते, क्योंकि हम यहाँ 60 साल से हैं. हमारा विषय है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स फिजिक्स, सो हम सोचते हैं इंग्लिश में. तो हिंदी में बोलने के लिए हमें दिमाग में ट्रांसलेशन करना पड़ता है. कठिन है, हम माफी मांगते हैं आपसे, लेकिन सच ये है कि हमारे लिए इंग्लिश में बोलना आसान है और हिंदी में बोलना थोड़ा कठिन है, लेकिन प्रयत्न करेंगे. अभी आपने हमें रिमाइंड किया, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. सो हम यहां पे बात कर रहे हैं डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में. शॉन ने मैनिफेस्टो में जो आइटमें लिखी हैं वो अच्छी तरह से पढ़ी. हमने बताया कि मैनिफेस्टो जो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने तैयार किया है वो हमारी दृष्टि से बहुत अच्छा एक पेपर है, जिसमें बहुत सारे लोगों ने काम किया है. उसमें विचार लिए गए हैं राहुल गांधी की 2 यात्रा से, जो राहुल ने सुना, समझा. सो हम सबसे पहले धन्यवाद देते हैं चिदम्बरम जी को, क्योंकि वो हेड थे कमेटी के, और उनके साथियों, सब लोग, जयराम रमेश और सब अदर्स. और हम ऑल्सो धन्यवाद देते हैं कांग्रेस के प्रेसिडेंट और राहुल गांधी को ये मैनिफेस्टो बनाने के लिए. इस मैनिफेस्टो में 2 चीजें हमारे तरह से इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक है माइक्रो लेवल, यानी ऊपर से ऑन द हाई ग्राउंड, जिसमें बताया है कि पहला काम है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बचाना, डेमोक्रेसी को ट्रैक पे लाना, हमारी जो संस्थाएं हैं उनको आजादी देना, मीडिया को फ्री करना, और बहुत सारी चीजें जो बदली गई है आखिरी 10 साल में, उन्हें सुधारना. उसके साथ साथ इकोनॉमी पर ध्यान देना, जिससे नौकरियां क्रिएट की जाए, दाम को कंट्रोल किया जाए, और उसके लिए टॉप डाउन की वजह बॉटम अप डेवलपमेंट चाहिए. डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन चाहिए। अब देखिए, मुझे डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन का हिंदी नहीं याद आ रहा, आना चाहिए लेकिन नहीं याद आ रहा अभी दिमाग में। सो माफ करना, लेकिन ये सब चीजें जो प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार करती है भविष्य के लिए, ये मैनिफेस्टो में बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझाई गई है। और उसके बाद मैनिफेस्टो जो शुरू होता है पहले ही, वो कहता है कि हमें सब लोगों को साथ ले जाके ये काम करना है। हमें देखना है कि बिछड़े लोग, गरीब लोग जो पीछे रह गए हैं, उनको हाथ थामना है और उन्हें हमारे साथ ले जाना है। उसके लिए जो भी करना पड़ेगा फॉर इक्विटी इंक्लूजन, वो हम करेंगे। फिर आता है हम जवान के लिए क्या करेंगे, महिलाओं के लिए क्या करेंगे, किसानों के लिए क्या करेंगे, नौकरियों कैसे बढ़ाएंगे। ये सब चीजें भी अच्छी तरह से आउटलाइन की है। हमने बहुत मैनिफेस्टो देखे हैं लास्ट 40 सालों में, कांग्रेस के, ऑपोजिशन के, बीजेपी के और बहुत पार्टी के। हम मानते हैं कि ये मैनिफेस्टो is perhaps the best I have seen so far.
Agreed, sir. 200%.
I am proud of the document. हमें बहुत क्या है प्राउड का? I don't want to use the wrong word because I have been in trouble before.
The right wing is waiting for us to slip.
Yeah, okay, right.
The
Because
pride is
I said hua to hua. What I meant is okay. And they
now
just
you became the meme material for the hua to hua.
is let's move on. Okay.
Yeah.
And get hung up on this and look at the future. But they didn't show any of that. And they just made me hua to hua man.
Our right wing friends call you hua to hua uncle.
That's their privilege. I have no issue. It's like the recent one. I said something about increasing tax of the middle class to pay for all this. I didn't say that. This was something 5 years ago we had discussed, but they show it as if it was done yesterday.
And it was also not on the full context, Sam. I think you spoke about middle class.
That I got a lot of people to call me saying, "Oh, you said this." I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." Then somebody sent me a clip, and I saw the clip and I looked at the background and I said, "Oh, this is my friend Dinesh Trivedi's house."
Yeah.
And I haven't visited that house for more than 5 years. Okay, so I said, this is a very old video, but they do this anyway. So, मैं आपसे माफी मांगता हूं कि कुछ ट्रांसलेशन अच्छा नहीं कर सका, बट आप समझ लीजिए द स्पिरिट ऑफ इट है कि ये मैनिफेस्टो टाइमली है और ये मैनिफेस्टो जो हम इंप्लीमेंट कर सकेंगे और करेंगे तो देश की दिशा बदल जाएगी। विश्वास रखिए कि अभी देश को ऐसे विचारों की जरूरत है। अभी देश कठिनाइयों से गुजर रहा है बिकॉज ऑफ पोलराइज पॉलिटिक्स। हमारे वहां झूठ फैलाया जाता है, लोगों को बहकाया जाता है धर्म के नाम पे। सो ये सब बदलना है क्योंकि हमारे देश में डाइवर्सिटी इतनी ज्यादा है कि हमें पूरा ध्यान देना है कि ये देश सबके लिए है। अभी आई होप this much in Hindi is good enough. Maybe you can give it to Avi to add few things. Can you give Avi a channel to add?
No, Avi is not there.
Acha, he was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds good. I'll
Anybody
go.
else wants to add something in Hindi? Please
Yeah,
ask
sure.
if somebody wants
Sure,
to.
sure, sir. I think you covered a good enough context. I'll cover the rest section, Sam, which is on media. Media, you have given an introduction. In the last 10 years, significant sections of the media have been robbed of or surrendered their freedom. Congress will help the media rediscover the freedom
Right,
that they enjoy under the Constitution.
right.
So this is a great preface to tell that the country has been morphed into Godi media. Why people call
They
it
know
as
it.
Godi media?
People know it.
Okay.
Okay, people know it.
But
Don't.
you telling it as part of manifesto as a preface is a reassurance to the people that you are going to help all those guys. It's not that all of them are doing this by their own interest, right? That many of them are doing this by their force. So you are going to help them regroup their independence back, right? Which is a great thing. Even for all the media people, I have a journalist hat too, other than my entrepreneurship. I felt very great when I read all the 8 things which where you assured the one of the important leg of the constitution, which is media, right? I want to read out all 8, Sam. Maybe if you allow.
Okay.
Congress has believed that self-regulation is the best way to correct the misuse of media. Congress will amend the Press Council of India Act 1978 to strengthen the system of self-regulation, protect journalistic freedoms, uphold editorial independence, and guard against government interference. Congress will amend the Press Council of India Act 1978 to empower the council to deal with the menace of fake news and paid news. Congress will defend independent journalism by enacting laws to protect journalists from coercive actions by the state. This includes restricting the powers of the government for surveillance of journalists, seizure of their device, and exposure of their sources. Congress will pass a law to curb monopolies in the media, cross ownership of different segments of the media, and the control of the media by business organizations. Congress will refer cases of suspected monopolies to the Competition Commission of India. So I think there are many classical cases like NDTV sale and many other things, right? I think which the entire public know. So want to hear, are there any opinions you have on any of these 4 assurances? Huh?
No, I agree with it. And I think it's well thought out. And we all feel it today. The pressure from media is very visible everywhere.
And the journalists being forced to reveal their source and they are being seized and are put behind bars, which is unheard of in any democracy in the world, which is, I think, now prevalent in India over the past 10 years.
You know what has happened to Ravish Kumar? That is pretty well known to everybody, and he's a man with courage. And there are many, but he's an example of that. And people have recognized his contribution, not just in India, but also outside India.
I treat me as a semi-journalist. Even I had threats. I used to write in some place like LinkedIn very actively, and I got threats literally. So they want to control the narrative. That was the issue.
Sure,
So
sure.
when your talks are becoming very active or becoming viral, I think that's when they want to control the dissent. All media houses, irrespective of the size, will be required to disclose their ownership structures, direct and indirect, cross holdings, revenue streams through their websites. Congress will pass a law to preserve the freedom of the internet and prevent arbitrary and frequent shutdowns of the internet. Many new laws, Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill 2023, Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023, Present Registration of Periodicals Act 2023, give unbridled powers of censorship to the government. The first named bill will be withdrawn. The restrictive provisions of the 2 acts will be amended or deleted to eliminate backdoor censorship. So, why do you want to talk about this eliminating one law and amending couple more? Why do you think some of these laws have provided a backdoor censorship, Sam? Do you think Indian media right now is manipulated and kind of even other digital media is controlled?
Well, we all know that the media today is predominantly owned by rich and famous. Media today is manipulated by people in power. And as a result, a lot of these things need to be re-looked at to see how we can minimize interference of money and muscles. Okay. We have seen the impact of controlled media on the mindset of the people, because they think whatever media says is the real truth. Most of the people don't find time to search for their own truth. They take truth as delivered to them. Like the example I gave on my video, which was 5 years old, shown today, average person will think that this is Sam's response today. It's a lie. But by the time they find out it's a lie, they have formed their opinion, because I have to defend their lie. And if you're going to lie, you might as well lie all the time. Okay? That's the problem. We have lost the character. We have lost values. And it's very hard to fight that kind of environment. Okay.
Awesome, sir. That is phenomenal. And want to read the last one, which is a very important, through which they are controlling. Even they have invested. Actor Prakash Raj has said they have invested thousands of crores in the film industry to
Sure.
make
A
films,
lot of movies,
which
yeah.
is talking. So Congress will amend the Cinematograph Act 1952 to provide that the Central Board of Film Certification grants graded certificates to according to transparent and reasonable criteria. So whatever films which were having a dissent, so they were controlling it, and they were providing a lot of kind of harassments not to provide CBFC certification for this past 10 years. Many films have gone through the trouble, and not only that, there are a lot of films which is was literally even rated as a propaganda movie by even the reputed film critics from outside India, like this Kashmir Files. So I think want to hear your thought about this. The last one, the important one, Sam, on the media.
Well, I'm not big on films. I don't see films, so I'm probably the wrong guy to comment on movies. I don't watch movies, unfortunately. I wish I could. I did watch a lot of movies, use my quota when I was young, and thereafter I hardly watch movies. I want to watch, for example, the
What was your
Oscar.
favorite movie
Yeah,
in
Oscar
Hindi?
winning movie I want to watch. I haven't had time. I can't
What
even.
was your what was your all-time favorite, Sam, in Hindi movies?
Oh, in my generation, we loved Pyasa. We loved Kagaj Ke Phool. Those were the movies, because we were also young and in romance and, a little uh, sort of crazy. So we loved the romantic movies and songs and all that, you know. But after I came here in 1964, I haven't watched full Hindi movie. I have never seen any movie of Amitabh Bachchan, Shahrukh Khan, or any of these guys. None whatsoever. Okay.
That's
My wife would watch
phenomenal.
it and I'll be just walking in and out doing my work. So I'll see their faces. But I've yet to watch a full movie. Okay. I want to watch Oppenheimer.
Okay, yep, that's
I want to watch,
phenomenal.
I want to watch that because, I'm a student of physics and I studied about him when I was young with great admiration. And I hope I can learn something from that movie.
In fact, there is a Netflix documentary on Einstein where how he went out of Germany and kind of came to US and stayed and fought fascism.
Einstein, I've
In
read his
fact,
book. I read
yeah,
Einstein's biography, by Isaacson or whatever. It's a good one. But Einstein, I know a little more, like Gandhi. Those are my two heroes.
yeah, yeah. When I know that they are your heroes. In fact, when I saw the documentary, I literally saw the way you are fighting to protect our democracy sitting in US. Almost I saw the parallels.
But there is a larger issue which is probably not germane to today's conversation. And that is not just democracy in India. What do we do with the conflicts that's going on in the world today? Right now, I'm very worried about Iran invading Israel. If that happens, something is going to happen because Iran will not keep quiet. It will get out of hand. Things will be really bad in Middle East. And if it is bad in Middle East, it will percolate down into other areas. So I see the world at a very delicate stage today. With war in Ukraine, war in Gaza, Iran intervention, Soviet Union all charged up, US concern over China, China's exercise in the eastern waters. All of these are alarming signals for the world. So Einstein started an institution right after atom bomb was invented. That institution was designed to really come up with a global agreement protocol. A lot of people worked on it, hundreds and thousands of scientists and all that. That work over a period of time remain in the background. There is a young man I came across from India, very good, Mr. Khan, and he has educated me, taught me a great deal about it. I'm looking at Einstein's effort, and I'm also working with few other friends on how do we create global constitution. So I spent almost 2 years on it now, and I believe that is as important as what we are doing in India. We need global constitution. Okay. And that's going to be my next big project to keep me interested.
Another one important parallel I saw between that Einstein, Hitler, and you, current the Prime Minister in India is so you both are in physics and continue fighting for democracy. You are still in the board of Fermi Institute, so looking at a lot of energy things. So do you want to talk about what are you doing in Fermi? You
Oh,
are on
I
the board.
think, Sean, it may not be of interest to a lot of people,
Okay.
but I'm on the board of Fermi where we work on neutrinos. You know, we have a budget of $6 billion to detect neutrinos. So Fermi Lab is close to my house, about 15 miles in Batavia. So it has very interesting global board, and we all meet once every 3 months. Very capable people from University of Chicago and others. Department of Energy funds it. And we are producing neutrinos in Batavia facility. So there is an underground lab about a mile. So you go in a lift about a mile and there is a big lab. And then we are going to shoot those neutrinos to South Dakota, where we bought a mine, gold mine, old, and spent about close to $1 billion in getting the rock out. 1 mile down, we have created 4 football field size space to build labs. And it's a great global collaboration. India is also participating in this. India has contributed a great deal to instruments, and Indian scientists come here. It's a fascinating project. Okay. Hopefully, in next 5-10 years, we'll detect neutrinos for the first time, and I'm sure it will result in 3-4 Nobel Prizes. Okay. Then I run a food bank in India in 50 cities. So if you go to India Food Bank Network, we feed hungry people every day in India. I'm chancellor of a university in Bangalore for transdisciplinary medicine called Transdisciplinary University that my colleague Darshan Shankar and I started 30 years ago as non-profit. Then I run a fairly big NGO in Washington, D.C. called Global Knowledge Initiative, where we take our knowledge from US to solve large global problems. Surprisingly enough, 3 months ago, some Chinese fellow who died left $3 million to our foundation, just out of nowhere. We had met him once, somewhere in a meeting. He was very impressed with what we are doing. So in his will, he left $3 million to this foundation, which I had started about 14 years ago, along with Nina Fedorov, who was science advisor to Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice. So Nina is about my age. We started that. And we already got $2 million out of his will. So things happen, So I do lots of interesting things, keep me busy, and that's why life is interesting and exciting. There is no dull moment.
Yeah, we took a good segue, but it's very interesting to learn the very impactful work what you are continue doing in science and technology and all other areas. Sam. It's very
I just got a new patent on January 10th
you said
on
about it.
system.
Yeah.
I'm filing few patents on AI, so I keep myself busy.
So hopefully, I think India will get to use your wisdom, Sam, again.
Oh, I don't know about
So
that. I don't know about that.
June,
I have to do what I have to do. India
June
is,
2020.
there are millions and millions like me in India. Believe me, India is full of talent. I have great respect. I mean, when I came to Chicago, I met Chandrasekhar, Dr. Chandrasekhar, who invented black hole. I was young then, and he was a professor at University of Chicago. And I met him at some event. And I said, oh my God, look at this physicist. This was 60 years ago. The man who invented black hole was Indian. So I meet a lot of these people, and Indians are great thinkers, and we have a good history of all this talent, so I'm proud of our heritage.
Thank you, sir. I want to maybe end today's call with maybe reviewing the six other assurances on very important topic for the country, which is on judiciary. So maybe then we'll go for next week anti-corruption and art culture next week.
But
So judiciary,
I
yeah,
want
go
people
ahead.
to interact more, Sean,
Yeah.
rather
So
than you and I all the
yeah,
time.
sure.
I would
Yeah.
like people to interact and bring their views, and because that's the idea.
Correct. No, today we kind of have few questions, Sam, but not a lot. And also, people want us to read, do a kind of this
No
manifesto
problem.
reading so that
No problem.
people have not paid attention beyond that equity, youth, women, farmers, workers. Actually, that was the one which broadcasted very well. I think people never not paid attention to these some of the sections, which is the real diamond. So judiciary, I
Uh-huh.
see this preface. Thanks to the misgovernance, weaponization of the laws, misuse of investigating agencies, and abuse of executive powers by the BJP NDA government in the last 10 years, the people have come to look upon the judiciary as a last bastion against anti-democratic actions and authoritarianism. An independent judiciary alone can uphold the Constitution of India. It's a very phenomenally written preface. What are your thoughts on this? This tells something actually. Even the current judiciary will certainly able to look upon this and uh, able to read something between the lines. So what this few lines are talking actually about the current state?
No, people know that judiciary comes under pressure. People are aware of it. We have seen decisions in the past, and we want to make sure that judiciary is given the autonomy they deserve. Respect our justice system. But at the same time, I believe we need to improve productivity of our judiciary. If I had an option, I would focus on all the pending cases. That will give confidence and trust. We can't have 30, 40 million court cases pending in a country of this type at this stage in development. I firmly believe, and I don't have any statistics to prove, that if we reduce time to justice from 10 years or so to maybe 18 months, we'll add 1 or 2% to our GDP. I firmly believe. I don't know how to prove it. Okay. I have one case through a company I know where a friend of ours took $1 million from us and never paid back. All the documents are there. Every legal paper is there. Case has been in court for 10 years. 10 years. It can be sorted out in 10 days if you want. Here are the documents. Here is the person. This is what he didn't do. Okay. And sort it out, my friend. But every time you ask for a new date because somebody's brother-in-law is sick, somebody has a headache, lawyer is on vacation, okay, and it goes on and on for 10 years. Okay. Look at the cost of money for 10 years. Okay. I mean, what kind of justice is that? Okay. And I'm sure there are cases for more than 10, 20 years in India. So if we resolve that, I think it'll be a great contribution besides being independent and all that. Because we have all the tools today. We didn't have those tools in the past. So I can understand the manual system was not really equipped to handle so many cases. Today with AI, big data, and all of it is computerized. But we just don't want to change. It is all there. It's all computerized. We know exactly what to do. And in the process, we'll make some mistakes, which we do anyway, even in a manual system. So what are we worried about? There are thousands and thousands of people in India under trial who are in prison, and they've served more time than they would be penalized for. They should be released because most of these are poor people. They don't have money for lawyers. Rich people have no problem. They'll just hire an expensive lawyer and they'll get him out. But what do poor people do? They are rotting in jail. So I think judiciary is a very important aspect of democracy. And it has to be fair. And it is not fair when you have 30 million, 40 million court cases pending in courts. Just not acceptable.
I think this primarily is pinning down to the filling of vacancies in the judiciary. I think you have touched upon this very important
Multiple issues, expanding courts, hiring more people, but most important thing is really using technology and a mission approach to solve it. If Chief Justice decides tomorrow, says, I promise the country that we will reduce time to justice to 18 months in 3 years, there is going to be a national mission. 1,000 young people will come and join. I know there are very good, capable young lawyers trained in computers, technology. You just put them on work for 3 years on an assignment. They don't need to be permanent. Saying, look, your job together with us is to solve this one problem. You got to have a mission. This cannot be done in the course of normal work because normal work is demanding. So you need a mission to clean up pending court cases.
The backlogs.
Hire 1,000 young people, put some senior people on the board to guide them, monitor them nationally, and get it done. I'll help. I know how to do this. We have done missions. Okay. And I'm sure other people will come and help.
The justice denied is the very worst thing, right? So I think a lot of people.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Denied, yeah. So
Okay.
We'll go to this important aspect, Sam. The independence and quality of judiciary is reflected in the independence and quality of judges. Congress will unswervingly uphold the independence of the judiciary in consultation with the Supreme Court and the Chief Justices of the High Courts. Congress will establish a National Judicial Commission. The composition of the new National Judicial Commission will be decided in consultation with the Supreme Court. The National Judicial Commission will be responsible for the selection and appointment of judges of the High Courts and Supreme Court. All vacancies in the High Courts and Supreme Court will be filled within 3 years. So this is phenomenal, Sam. This is recruitment of judges. It's you work in consultation. There is a little bit of fragmented process
Let me
where
tell you,
government has to say.
let me tell you, we have some very intelligent people in judiciary. I've dealt with some. I had an opportunity to meet our present Chief Justice at his home. And these are highly qualified people, as good as anywhere else in the world. Okay. And they need to be given support. And we got to listen to them. Okay. Go ahead.
Congress will amend the Constitution to create two divisions in the Supreme Court, a Constitutional Court and a Court of Appeal. The Constitutional Court, consisting of the 7 senior-most judges, will hear and decide cases involving the interpretation of the Constitution and other cases of legal significance or national importance. The Court of Appeal will be the final court of appeal that will, sitting in benches of 3 judges, each hear appeals from the High Court and national tribunals. It's phenomenal. So we will allocate sufficient funds for augmenting the physical and technical infrastructure of the judiciary and for the modernization and maintenance of the infrastructure, which you have touched upon already. More women and persons belonging to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward castes and minorities will be appointed as judges of the High Courts and the Supreme Court. The diversity in the judiciary. What are your thoughts?
Oh, we need that. We need diversity everywhere, not just judiciary. We need diversity in education. We need diversity in health. Look at our vice chancellors, teachers, scientists, engineers. Absolutely.
Why do you think a Dalit judge or a women judge will be able to look at a problem very differently than a normal other judge? Because they have that different viewpoints.
Empathy. They can empathize with the group in a very different way. Okay. And I think it's important. It's important to understand I give you one example, which I may have given you earlier. I don't know whether I talked about it on this. I had a very interesting professor from Philadelphia come to visit me. He was a professor.
Many times it's about the caste name.
Right. Name. Exactly. Bhangya Bhukhya is his name. Okay. Broken and hungry. Okay. Now, someone has to understand his feelings and his journey and his experiences to do real justice. Someone who hasn't gone through his journey would not be able to grasp the essence of his complaint or reasoning or whatever. And I think that's what people will bring through diversity.
I'll read out the last important assurance of the judiciary, Sam, which I think also there is a precedence to this particular thing. There was one important case where the entire country was watching maybe a scandal involved with the judge. And so now I think you have mentioned about it in the manifesto. Congress will establish a judicial complaint commission consisting of retired judges of the Supreme Court and retired chief justices of the High Courts to investigate complaints of misconduct against judges of the higher judiciary. So this is phenomenal. So I think you are certainly have looked upon other democracies and bringing this new age of things. I think which is the important reform which is needed. What are your thoughts on this?
I agree with this. And, I think we need to also listen to professionals. I want more and more input from domain experts on everything. See, today we do not get proper input from domain experts. If it is water, it becomes a political decision. If it is energy, it becomes a political decision. We got telecom IT done in the way we got it done is because you had domain expertise and political will combined. Nobody understands this. We got atomic energy done space program done, milk revolution, green revolution, because there was domain expertise aligned with the political will. So everywhere we need domain expertise. We cannot reform judiciary if we don't have domain experts there. But you need political will. Political will by itself doesn't do it. If we say we will do this, it doesn't get done. We got to get domain experts everywhere. I was just reading this morning an experience in Belgium. Belgium, as part of the EU, has created a group of 60 domain experts on AI, given them a time frame, so many meetings, invite all the domain experts, and then come up with a policy on AI, which will be debated, discussed. It is not a policy that will be prepared by politicians. It will be a policy that will be prepared by domain experts. And I think it is very important going forward in the democracy to increase participation of civil society and domain experts. So far, we have really limited the participation of civil society and domain experts more as a token. Politicians and bureaucrats and business decide. Business has financial interest, bureaucracy has execution interest, and political bosses have voting interest. What you really need is civil society as active element. People have talked about it, but haven't done it. And I hope we pay more attention to that. Okay, let's finish
maybe
up.
I'll maybe finish up with 5 minutes to few questions.
Yeah.
Anil Kumar Rathore, humble request, EVM and VVPAT pay, emergency attention is needed. Otherwise, we will lose this whole battle for India. We empathize with you. So I think he's talking about EVM, VVPAT case coming up. John,
I agree. I'll go back to it. I agree with Anil Kumar Rathi. But now it's out of our hand. It is really in the hands of the Supreme Court and others to decide, because there is very little time left. But I agree with you completely. Joseph Brito, I know him well. The entire globe is in a volatile situation. Agree. The lack of quality leadership is a major concern. Agree. Good leaders are thwarted. Agree.
And we have interesting right-wing friends saying Congress is Muslim League as like the leader Narendra Modi. So and he's
bogus. It's obscene for a prime minister of a country to say this and get away with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And get away with it. Okay.
And I don't know which part of this 48-page document is Muslim League. I don't know actually. Literally, this is very much speaking Gandhi.
No, you just say it. You just say it without understanding, without saying.
So he's feeding his own cult, the bugs.
No, it's not that. You just say irresponsible things. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's their game plan. You can say anything.
Yeah.
Okay, you can say, oh, Congress didn't do this for 70 years, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't have to be a fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sam. And I think we had a very good show. So today we reviewed very important sections, defending the Constitution, sixth chapter of the Manifesto of Congress, saving democracy, removing fear, restoring freedom, and reversing the damage, media, judiciary, all other three other sections had respective other assurances. Let us look forward to review the rest of the manifesto, the blueprint for India by the India Alliance.
Sean, let me just take a minute to request a lot of people out there in the field to form small groups at district levels, in schools, colleges, chaurahas, at work, in family settings, to really have a conversation on this manifesto. Every district should have at least 10, 20 people who are discussing this manifesto, spreading the word, talking about what is good, what is that they would like to change, what they agree, what they don't agree. I think this manifesto should be used by a large number of people to really see in this manifesto their role, responsibility, their benefits, their task. Because in democracy, this manifesto belongs to everybody. You can add, subtract, agree, disagree, but that will happen only if you have conversation. So I encourage all Congress workers, all non-Congress workers also, students, women, farmers, to really take this manifesto seriously, discuss, debate, and see how at your level you will be able to implement and enhance. Okay?
Thank you,
that's
sir.
my humble request.
Looking forward to talk to you in the next week. Priyamada and others will talk next week. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.